I never get tired of that song. Welcome to the PanelCast, everybody. I am your host AJ, and with me, as usual, is my fuzzy co-host Richard. How you doing, Richard?
Not too bad. How's it going today?
I'm doing,
Yeah.
yeah.
What is
It
that
is.
sound?
It is
I
a
don't think that was a word.
Wednesday, right? We're just, as we can be here. We're coming to you on Wednesday today in the beginning of February, where we've just recovered from 390 days of January, and where Poxitani Phil is seeing his shadow, so we're in for another long winter. Um, have you seen all the madness that is wrapped around what has now become Groundhog's Day? Like all the stuff that happens out there in that town
No,
in Ohio. Like it has gone madness to where it is like a full on day festival ever since the movie came
I
out.
thought Punxsutawney was in Philadelphia.
Wherever that frack it is, it's just pure madness out there now. Where they have like costume parties and they have singing on stage and they have live band, all this stuff going on, music and food and everything. And then even the mayor gets out there and does the whole song and dance thing. And they even made a Poxitani Phil song and a Groundhog's Day song that they wrote. It's just craziness. And
Wow. Well, you know what? That's that city's big thing, right? It happens once a
right,
year.
I mean,
That's is that the only time it's I wherever it is. I'm not even sure for some. I don't know why I think it's in Philadelphia. Um, I don't know what brought that to my mind, but for some reason I thought it was. I don't know. But that's like their big tourist time. So I guess buy into it. Matter of fact, I'm almost positive it's in Philadelphia because isn't that where Britt Breaker's from?
yeah, Young's Township near Poxitani, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay, Pennsylvania. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's. I knew it was something like that, but yeah, I mean you can't really blame them. But no, I've never seen. I don't really watch the news because it's depressing. So I haven't seen any of that stuff. I would just see remember Groundhog Day the movie,
Right.
like the celebration they would have there, and then a couple years after that, I would see it on the news. But in the last few years, I'm sure it's gotten bigger.
I haven't watched the news either. I'm just saying everything that's been on TikTok when Groundhog's Day, like on TikTok, went nuts.
I've
Thank God,
I've been
because of
staying
all
away
the
from TikTok's just as depressing lately.
right. Well, with all the political crap that's been going on lately, seeing all the celebrations of Groundhog's Day and how the
Yeah,
town they basically reenact the movie.
that's kind
You
of
know,
cool.
like that's kind of cool. Like it's craziness, and I kind of want to go out there now on Groundhog's Day from now on, like make it a tradition and almost participate in it.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be pretty fun.
Except avoid the pothole. I'm not stepping in that.
Watch your step. It's
Right.
that first step. It's a doozy.
It'll get you. In this episode, we are going to be discussing the Royal Rumble, which happened this past weekend. Uh, some of the responses to it, as well as our thoughts on it, because Richard and I both saw it separately, but together as one. Anyway, and then we're also going to take a quick second. In fact, let's do that right now to go over and watch the Fantastic Four First Steps official trailer and give you our review of it. So, let's go ahead and do that now. Here we go. And there you have it, everybody. The first official look at the Fantastic Four trailer. Um, Thoughts?
I think it looks fantastic.
Pun intended.
Yes, 100%. Actually, I was amazed. Now, I mean, I think it has that really kind of I love the retro look to it, you know, and that feel. It doesn't, but it's got that retro look in the way that it doesn't feel forced. Like a lot of
Mhm.
times when you see movies that have that retro look or they go for that I wouldn't call it a time period because it's not, hundreds of years ago. But when you go back in time, basically to a certain time period, a lot of times it feels forced or like just super weird and fake. Like it's like everything around it just looks um like it just doesn't look natural. It doesn't look real. And this has
Mhm.
like it flows very well. It looks good to me.
It gives me the World of Tomorrow impression that we got from movies like Mask of the Phantasm or Return of the
Yeah,
Joker. Where
right,
they're doing this on that type of
right,
environment. And true to a lot, especially in the Ultimates comic books, when the Fantastic Four came back and landed, if you flash forward about 10 years, you would see that everything around the Baxter Building had advanced into the technology that they had advanced into, and
right,
that the time period kind of morphed into absorbing what their knowledge was pumping out, their technology and stuff was pumping out. And so
well, I mean
seeing
that's what you would think, would actually happen. So
right, it's the whole Robotech scenario,
yeah,
where an alien ship lands on Earth, and 50 years later we've adapted it, and here we are with the same thing. They went up, they did the cosmic rays, they came down, and Reed's intelligence immediately factored into the changing the world and the way the world looked. And this is what we're getting.
right,
And so I feel like we're getting into that ultimate Earth universe type of vibe where when they came back, this is the Earth we would have gotten if Fantastic Four had been part of the MCU the entire time. Um, if we had had the Fantastic Four, that we've had the
right.
MCU.
I did have some reservations for Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards, just because he doesn't look the part, and it's just
Right.
especially like I think his I always thought, not that I have a problem with the guy or anything, but something I just think his accent's gonna stick out,
Mhm.
and didn't bother me at all. It felt right. Like he I think he's just, and maybe a lot of it. I mean, it is a just a trailer, but it just feels like they put him in the situation where he can actually act. You know what I'm saying? And not just like a lot of times there's a difference in allowing an actor to act and having an actor portray a character. You know what I'm saying? Where you're portraying a character, it's just like it it doesn't feel like it's part of them. Where with this, he feels like Reed Richards.
I was having a discussion in another forum earlier about something maybe you can help me with relation to. I agree. I love Pedro Pascal. I think he's a great actor, phenomenal actor. Everything I've seen him in, I've loved. The only problem I have with him though is he won't shave. That's part
Right,
of his look.
right.
Now, the problem I have with that is that he stops portraying the character because of that. He's portraying the actor portraying the character. Now, in the latest Suits LA trailer, we see Stephen Amell showing up, finally shaving that damn gravel off his face
Right.
after many years of seeing him as Oliver Queen and the Mayor and back and forth, and then even seeing him on heels with that same look on his face in all those movies and everything. He finally shaves his gravel, which makes me think he's finally taking on the character as opposed to the actor portraying the character. Now, the
Well,
only problem
I'm
I have with Pedro's portrayal here is his keeping of that facial hair. I think if he would clean up or at least take on more characteristics of that character instead of trying to say I'm Pedro portraying this character, I
I
think I'd
think
be more excited for it.
I think the way he acts and speaks is ultimately what's going to feel like Reed Richards more than the way he looks. There's no
But I
way. I
think
mean, he's not tall enough. He's not an older white man, so he's not gonna physically look like Reed Richards. So he has to do the portrayal in a different way in the way he acts. So I don't have a problem with him not shaving. I mean, hell, Cesar Romero never did. You know, and I but as long as the role and the writing is along where he feels like he's Reed Richards, and that's going to be ultimately that's the test. The litmus test will be how he speaks, because Reed Richards spoke in a very intelligent way, but not in a way of talking down to you.
right, but he
Whereas,
also
whereas
felt that shaving was intricate detail into doing his work because he felt if any facial hair fell into his work, his cellular mitosis and all the stuff, it would ruin it. So I understand where you're coming from, and I'm not taking away anything from that character's work. I know it's a minor detail. It's
right,
stupid. It's just a stupid little pet peeve of mine, you know. And I look at stuff like Copland, where yeah, it was brilliantly written and brilliantly acted, but look how the actors didn't care about what they looked like. They cared about how the characters came across. Stallone got fat for that movie.
right.
He didn't care. He stopped looking buff and being the guy in shape, and he stopped being Stallone so that he could be that character. You see what I mean? That's the example that my litmus test. Now I know
I
he's
get
going
it,
to act the role, but
but
that just takes me out of it a little bit, just a little bit.
but ultimately, like even if he did shave it, he wouldn't look any more like Reed Richards if he doesn't.
I understand. I'm not trying to say he should look like Reed Richards. I'm just saying
That's what I'm saying is like it really doesn't, to me, it really doesn't make that big of a difference. But I mean, some people are going to have pet peeves about that. I totally understand that it is integral part of the character. But they may, who knows, they may explain it.
maybe. Who knows? I just
Yeah,
worried like there's just that difference between actor ego and
right.
you know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
are you doing it for your image or are what's going on here? And
And we
that's where
also we
I
also
kind of
have a, like, reading online, there's been a lot of I've read both a lot of positive and negative about the thing. I think the thing looks amazing. Now, obviously, I've read, he looks fake. Well, I mean, he's not going to look real.
right.
What are you going to compare him to in reality? I think he looks like the old school, the old comics, the old school, even the old stop motion cartoon thing. Like he's
Right.
got that brow, he's got that look, that
Well, he
that
looks like
throwback
he
look to
did
him.
in the animated version where they had Herbie.
Right.
If you
Exactly.
ever if you ever watched the what was it, the 50s and 60s cartoons that came
Right.
out,
Yeah.
where they did it was just sliding. It wasn't even stop
Yeah.
motion. It was just the
Yeah. With the
character
stop motion
sliding,
ones.
and yeah. But the Fantastic Four ones came out with Herbie,
Yep.
and who were they without? They were without somebody. Was it the Thing they were without, or
No, Thing was in it.
Thing was in it? They were without somebody else because that's what made it the four. And anyway, so um, and I loved seeing Herbie in it, but I loved seeing the Thing. If you don't like how the Thing looks, I mean, do better.
Yeah, I think he looks good, but then I've never really complained about any of the versions of the Thing, because I mean, I wouldn't say any of them, but
What do you think was
usually,
better, Corman
huh?
or Corman's version of the Thing, or Michael Chitla's version of the Thing?
Um, well, Corman's version, number one, was incomplete. But for the time, it being practical and everything like that, it wasn't bad. But Chiklis's version was, I enjoyed it. Like, people can crap on those movies all they want. When they came out, everybody loved them. People started hating them later in life, and
Mhm.
when we became more cynical. They were enjoyable movies. They weren't supposed to be masterpieces. They weren't on par with the comics, but they're enjoyable. Now the Smoky Galactus wasn't cool, but
What are you talking about? You didn't like the fart Galactus?
yeah, right.
The fart cloud that was Galactus? Um, I also liked the thing because it was reminiscent of the cartoon version where the kid became the thing.
Right.
And that was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. The kid like put his rings together and he became the thing. And yeah, it wasn't uh accurate as far as comic book was concerned, but um it still is a lot of fun to watch that show.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get comic book accuracy in this. I think it's a different take on the Fantastic Four, and it's called First Step for a reason. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's reintroducing us without redoing the origin. I'm sure they're going to talk about the origin story and everything like that, but it's not a full origin story. From what I gather, it looks like they're going in and the Fantastic Four already exists.
Finally.
So, um,
I'm tired of origin stories.
well,
Um
this because it
and
gets
you know what?
retold so many times.
I already from my point of view anyway, I already see anything that comes on film is never going to be comic book accurate. That
Right?
is, the film universe is a completely, totally different universe than the comic book universe.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't figured that part out yet, even though Marvel has completely spent the past 15 years telling you that that's what it is, um,
Which
then
is
I don't
amazing.
know what to tell you. You know,
That's the thing that amazes me is that comic book fans think that a movie is going to be comic book, like that's what they fly off handle. It's not
right?
comic book accurate. That
It
they
is
get
not.
so
It's
pissed
a
off of
totally
that.
different
But
universe, totally different story.
most comic book fans tend to also be voracious readers. You read books. What
Right.
film is ever like the novel?
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, so close.
It was.
Red is right on.
um, Red is right on. What are you talking
No,
about?
he's not.
Yeah, he was. He was black in the book.
No, he's not.
Yes, he was.
No, he's not.
Yes, he was.
No, he's Irish in the book.
No, he's black in the book.
He's Irish in the book. They
He's
even talk
black
about
in
it
the
in the
book.
behind the scenes of the movie.
Okay, we're gonna fight on that one.
I'm
Moving on.
almost positive he's Irish in the book. I mean, I haven't read it in 100 years, but
We will come back to that at the end of the show. I will look it up and come back to it at the end of the show. Continuing on. Um, no problems with anything I saw in the Fantastic Four trailer, other than like maybe a little diffused look in the film filter itself. But I'm
yeah,
sure that'll be cleared up once we see it on IMAX, which I want to see it on IMAX. That one of the two films that we've recently seen the trailers of that have been made for IMAX is Sinners and this movie, and I want to see both of them in IMAX, or
yeah,
at least the biggest, most digital screen I can possibly do it on uh, to enjoy it. So I am very excited for it.
yeah. Everything like this has me. Which with Marvel movies, I tend to try to keep an open mind in general. I I love comic books, so if just getting comic books makes me happy, comic book movies, even if they're not accurate or whatever, as long as it's entertaining, I'm happy with it. Like the Batman. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was a good detective story.
Mhm.
And so as long as I get something that's when I say true to the characters, which means you're not completely throwing out who the characters are and then like rehashing it. I understand you're going to get differences. You're going to have differences in stories and stuff like that. But as long as it's true to the character in general, then it tends to be enjoyable to me. So
Uh,
yeah, this one has me
yeah,
pretty excited.
I am very excited for all of it. Um, All right, so let's move on to the next segment, and that is the Royal Rumble, WWE's and Richard's favorite event
It is my
of,
favorite.
of the whole year is the Royal Rumble. And so for that, because it's your favorite, Richard, I'm going to let you take us into it. You're welcome.
Well, this year the Royal Rumble was had a ton of hype behind it. Number one, they did it at the what is it, Lucas Oil Field, I think is the name of it, where the Indianapolis Colts play. So you're talking about a football arena that seats like 70,000 people. So just in the fact that they're going to fill a football arena for a pay-per-view match that has 4 matches, uh, and that place was rocking. The pre-shows were amazing. The pay-per-view itself was it was a solid pay-per-view. We'll get into it, but I wouldn't call it a home run, but it didn't need to be, because that's the Royal Rumble never has to be a home run. It's just the first steps on the way to WrestleMania. So, but even before the Royal Rumble happened, something that I consider important happened. I think it was Friday before the Royal Rumble, or Thursday, and that was the fact that they announced that the first member of the 2025 Hall of Fame is going to be Triple H, which I thought was really cool. I've always been a huge Triple H fan. With him running the company, you would think he wasn't going to do it, but that's supposedly a decision that Nick Khan, who is the president and CEO of TKO, made with had the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels come in and do that. Totally surprised Triple H. It was
Are you sure
hilarious.
that wasn't Tommaso Ciampa that was nominated?
But it was really cool, and it's really cool to see, because, like I said, I was a huge Triple H fan, and I know he's in there as part of DX, but going in on his own, I think is really, really cool. So I'm sure he's going to be the headliner this year, and that's the other thing. They're going to start announcing the Hall of Fame, and I'm a huge fan of the Hall of Fame. I like to see it. Hopefully, we get a good mix of some of the like past legends. We've been getting a lot of the Attitude Era legends lately.
Mhm.
Um, I'd like them to mix in more of the even older ones, but
I just hope it's
yeah,
not the Rock show like it was last year.
yeah. Well,
Paul Heyman did a great job in his induction last year, and it was really great to see. I'm anxious to
well,
see who's coming this year.
yeah. Paul Heyman's induction was his speech. Everything that Paul Heyman did was amazing. So, but going on, the pre-shows and everything, all the hype behind the Royal Rumble this year was really really top tier. There was a lot of anticipation build, strictly because for once there is a like who was going to win debate. Like, usually that tends to be like you got about 2 or 3 people that are pretty much primed and ready, to win it. You have your bigger names. When you got people like John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, those would be like your top 3 normally. But then you got CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and like all these other people that are, they're really hot with the crowds right now. It's really kind of a pick 'em situation, which put the WWE in a place to really, we'll go ahead and say, do something that a lot of people didn't expect.
I gotta admit that uh, I've always known this, but going into this weekend, I have to admit that WWE is indeed the show. It
Yeah,
is. I mean, Triple H has done his best to as the game to make WWE the game. And watching the pay per view this weekend and watching just everything that they did and how everything went, um, it's yeah, they've clearly defined that line between AEW and WWE to where they're just taking it on on top. They are the A game, the game.
Yeah,
Like
they're
the show
the
that you want to get to,
they're
and
they're the brand.
seeing what they've done with everything, it's impressive, but it's also highly intimidating and scary and a little off-putting at the same time. Watching it as a fan because it is a lot.
Right.
Like if I
Well,
wanted
it's
to be a complete fan, I could not afford to be. There's not enough time to watch all the different events that they got going on, all the different specials that they got going on. I couldn't afford to be able to get into all the different wrestlers that I like, everything that I'm seeing. It's a lot encompassing everything that they got. And I almost feel bad for the wrestlers because those people must be exhausted. I know they don't have as much of a daily schedule as they used to, but between ads and traveling
yeah,
and
they're well.
doing
That's why I think
vignettes
that's
and
why they cut down
interviews and
their
everything. Yeah.
I think that's why they cut down their house shows and their live shows because they're doing a lot less of those.
And
Um,
the community stuff that they do now and
right.
all the sponsorships and all of
And
the
all these
charities
endless
that
shows
they
that
have to
keep
be
coming
involved
out
in.
too.
Yeah, they're so busy. Like
Yeah, and
I can
with them
understand
having
why.
the deal. What's
Go
that?
ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I said with them having this deal with Netflix, they're having Netflix original programming coming out. They still have original programming coming out on Peacock. They have the new show that they're doing on ESPN. So I mean, they're everywhere. Which I mean, the thing is the WWE is they're the brand. They're Band-Aid. Um they're not just like when you tell somebody, oh yeah, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. They're like, oh, like WWE. That's what it is.
Right.
That's what people. Nobody's saying, oh, like TNA or like AEW or like
Well, like
because
back
the
in the day when
WWE is
you say you watch wrestling, it was all Hulk Hogan, and
right.
now it's
Exactly.
all John Cena.
we're,
And
we're right back. We're right back to that brand recognition, and you know what? They're taking advantage of it, and good for them. And all that does is
absolutely
it builds because they're working on other things they have coming. They announced that they're doing this new WWE Evolve, which I don't know if they bought the original Evolve because they were working with them at one time. Um, but it's an independent organization that's pre NXT. So these guys that are really really young in the professional wrestling industry, that are these people that are really starting to get their feet wet and learn how to work in front of a live crowd or in front of a television. That's what this new show. It's going to be on Tubi, and so it's in hoping that they can advance to get to NXT. So they're just like they're expanding all over the world, literally. So
right. Especially with the free agency that they started.
right,
Yeah. Well,
but we
let's
had
go ahead and get back to Royal Rumble.
right. So we started off with I believe the first match was the women's Royal Rumble.
Right. Io
Uh,
Sky and was pulled the number one spot.
right. It was Io Sky and Liv
Liv
Morgan, right?
Morgan. Yep.
And those two were just oh man, they. All I can say about the women's Royal Rumble match in general, it was, and I've read a lot of criticism out there. There's been a lot of people that say it was mid or it was okay, this and that. The women's Royal Rumble match I found way more entertaining than men's. There was a
Yeah.
lot more.
More interesting, at least.
Yeah, exactly, because there was a lot more, and maybe because the men have so many stars that they had to use. We didn't get many call ups. Like that's the one thing about the women's. We got a lot of people from NXT, a lot of that talent that maybe you don't see all the time if you don't watch NXT, and you got to see these girls like really perform. Everybody that came out from NXT really put on a good show.
Right. You had people like Roxanne Perez, Lash Legend, Jada
Yep.
Parker, Stephanie Bakir, who's internationally known anyway,
Right.
Julia. They all showed up and they were all kicking ass.
Yeah, they did some amazing things, and we got to see some some people mix it up that I mean, I like when you see Julia and Charlotte go face to face. Roxanne. I mean, Roxanne Perez showed why she's called the prodigy in this Royal Rumble. She was in there for what I believe she set the record for the women's.
Yeah, 1 hour,
Yeah.
7 minutes,
Yeah.
47 seconds. Yep.
Yep. So which is crazy because for Liv Morgan had set the record in that match and then was eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Io Sky and then Roxanne. So you had 3 girls in there that went over an hour.
Right.
It was very impressive. And they weren't just hiding. I mean, it was hard. There was some good hard hitting action. We had a couple of callbacks, Trish Stratus showed up. Alexa Bliss returned, which got a huge pop. And then you had, Nikki Bella. Jordan Grace made her debut. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Bellas either, but you know what? There's a lot of girls
they've done.
Yeah, there's a lot of young girls out there that love the Bellas, and that's good for them. Like it's really there's a lot of girls in wrestling right now that because of the Bellas. So
absolutely,
I think that's really cool. Jordan Grace coming up and Jordan doing that.
That was my favorite move of the entire night.
The Death Valley Driver with Piper.
Yeah, that she did that, and on top, did you see the repercussions of that? How Jordan got tossed all the way to the the rope and then bounced back. She's like, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan is and that's her first official match as part of the WWE. So I'm excited to see what they do with her.
Right.
Like Jordan is such a talent. I've been a fan of hers for years. There's so many matchups I'm excited for.
I like her better with her hair down. I'm just gonna say. I think she looks better with her hair down. She's still a muscular monster that scares the crap out of me. Not so much with the hair down.
So, but and the one thing is we had a returning Charlotte Flair, and there's some people that are kind of like looking down on the fact that Charlotte pulled out the victory. And a lot of people think that it's people call her a nepo baby and it's this, it's that. If you have Charlotte Flair on your roster, she needs to be in the title hunt. I don't care what anybody says. She is the greatest women's professional wrestler of all time. She just is. She is that good. She transcends the business. Now she doesn't mean she always has to win the title, but she should be in the title picture. That's like saying John Cena doesn't deserve to be in the title picture, or Bayley. Bayley should be in the title picture too. Some people just should always be lurking right there. And there's so many potential matchups with Charlotte right now. People kind of look down like, oh, we're gonna get her and Rhea again. What do you mean? Oh, we're gonna get her and Rhea again? First of all, they're 1-1 at WrestleMania. Why wouldn't you make it a trilogy? It makes perfect sense. Or you have potential of her and Julia, or her and Tiffany Stratton. Like that's a way to get these younger girls
over.
Yeah, exactly. So for people to look down on it, I think is just kind of nearsighted, but
if you don't think Charlotte puts in the work or is doing any good, look at her then when she first started, look at her now.
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing I'd noticed throughout the whole Royal Rumble thing with all the women coming in, and maybe I'm a little sexist about it, but I'm sorry. You can tell the difference between the veterans and the newer girls that are coming in, because the newer girls are a little bit more muscular and a little bit more padding in the back because they're still learning.
Well, a lot of those younger girls are. You also have to think about where they're coming from, like the sports that they're coming from.
Let me finish my statement. Let me finish. Then you get the veterans, and you get Charlotte Flair coming in there, and she's obviously had to change the way she wrestled because she went from being. I mean, she was always been attractive, but she went from being smooth and pretty to ripped. and shredded because she has had to adjust the way she worked because of the injuries and because of the way the new style of wrestling is. You can tell she's had to adapt to it
Right.
and get into shape from all working out, recovering from the injuries.
Oh
This
yeah,
bitch
she
is
is.
ready
She
to
is
go.
jacked.
She is ready to go. She saw Jordan Grace and was like, I gotta look something good, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And
A lot of it.
so
A
that's what I'm
lot of it
saying.
is,
You can
is
tell
how
the
you have
difference
to
in the
recover from
body
injury.
shape between the kids coming in and the veterans now, because the veterans are working to stay in the game, and the rookies are just getting started, you know.
Right.
And so they're not as fine tuned yet. They haven't adapted to different styles yet, you know. They haven't
Well,
been
also,
as
also,
injured yet. So
also, you have the a lot of those girls that the WWE has, that the women. A lot of them are basketball players, and basketball players tend to be have the real thick legs and stuff like that.
right,
Once they get adapted to the wrestling style, that's gonna all start flowing because of the cardio in it.
right,
That's gonna like they're gonna trim down a lot.
right. But that's the sign of a good wrestler. Like Charlotte Flair, we were talking before when we saw Adam Cole, baby. He came back from injury. That man looked like a toothpick. Charlotte Flair comes back from injury. She looks like she's gonna go build a house by herself with a
Yeah,
rock. You know, like she's gonna take a rock and a tree and make a house out of it. You know,
yeah.
and here comes Adam Cole looking like he's gonna fall down making a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Well, that's the difference in dedication. I mean, look when Randy Orton or AJ Styles came back from injury. Those guys are two of the most jacked guys, and they're both in their 40s.
Right.
Came back
And
just
you can tell every
jacked.
time Samoa Joe gets an injury because he comes back 10 pounds lighter.
Yeah,
Every time Samoa Joe gets injured, he comes back a little light.
yeah. So I mean, like I said, I found the women's Royal Rumble way more entertaining than the men. I wouldn't say way more, but just more intriguing. Like I said, simply because probably the call ups, and you had more of the throwbacks than anything that you got in the men's. And I was excited to see Alexa Bliss back. I was excited to see Jordan Grace. I was excited. I'm excited for Charlotte Flair. I don't look down upon Charlotte being there. I think she deserves to be. I find her a lot more intriguing than a lot of people. And like I said, she's going to help elevate some of these younger girls, and they deserve to be elevated.
I think she'll do good and
Yeah,
help out a lot. I personally am just tired of seeing her wrestle, but that's just me. I want
yeah,
someone new, you know. But that's not saying I don't respect what she's done or what she can do, everything in the
yeah. But
ring. I'm just
that's the thing is she has to get new people ready.
absolutely, I agree. I know what she's there for. I agree everything you just said. I'm just personally tired of her. Like same with Bailey, you know, and all them. I'm just great. Can we watch somebody else now? You know, like it's the whole Spider-Man Doc Ock fight.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, can we get somebody else in there? And if she's taking on more people and different people, great, awesome. If she can put on a 5-star banger with Rhea again and do that rubber match, awesome. I'm all for it. But if it's
I
just gonna be
I
the same old, you
I
know,
think I think the Rhea match, doing the rubber match with Rhea is intriguing and is cool, but I think a match with her and Tiffany Stratton is way more interesting. Simply
absolutely.
because Tiffany's young, and I think Rhea doesn't need any help. Rhea doesn't need to be pulled up the next rung in the ladder. Rhea is the top right now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Rhea's in that position where she can help somebody younger. Whereas if she went with Tiffany Stratton, Tiffany's really hot right now. People are really into her, and I think that would just help bring her up to the next level.
Now you watched Raw the following day, correct?
Right?
Were you did any of them did she pick her champion?
No, she
Okay,
came
I'm
out. She came out and was basically talking about how she's going to weigh her options. She's going to take her time. She's going to go to NXT. She's going to check out Julia. She's going to go to SmackDown. She's going to check out Tiffany. And then Rhea came out, and basically Rhea kept telling her, pick me, pick me. So
Is
that's
Rhea champ
probably
right now?
Rhea's the champ.
Okay.
So that's probably the route they're going to go. And that's like, it's showing that Rhea wants that rubber match. So, I mean, that could still be intriguing too, but I just think Tiffany puts, like, Rhea doesn't need to, she's a top, she's
Right.
probably the top.
Everywhere.
Yeah, she's probably the top wrestler in the company right now. Honestly, she's probably the most popular wrestler in the company right now. Like, she doesn't need to come up any higher. So, I mean, we'll see.
Moving on. So after the Women's Royal Rumble, we had our DIY guys versus the
Yeah,
Motor City Machine Guns. 2 out of 3 falls.
it was a good match. I mean, DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns are really going to always put on good matches. Those are two of the best teams in wrestling. I wasn't a big fan of the end, and I think it disappointed a lot of people in the fact that there's not a lot of intrigue to tag team wrestling right now. I think the WWE has really, and they're trying to fix it, but they've really kind of made tag team wrestling an afterthought for having so many great tag teams. It's just there's so many run-ins and so many screw job finishes and everything. And it sucks because the Motor City Machine Guns are finally getting their time in the spotlight, and it's really just not getting the feedback. I would say the matches are right on. They're doing amazing. Their matches are on point. Any fan of the Motor City Machine Guns, I imagine, is happy. I am. But it's just like tag team wrestling in the WWE, it feels like an afterthought. We did see the Street Profits return and basically screw the Motor City Machine Guns out of the title, DIY retaining, attacking. Who did they hit? I think it was Sabin with a crutch, which means I guess we're going to get a heel version of the Street Profits again. That just seems like wasted opportunity. The Street Profits should have been one of the top tag teams years ago. They wasted all that potential. DIY should have been the way they're trying to push them now. That should have been done years ago. Like all these teams, they're like, it's like they're 3 or 4 years behind when it comes to tag team, pushing the tag teams.
Well, it feels like Triple H is focused on the singles and all the individual people coming into the company and what they were doing, and then
it's that old school mentality. And I understand the old promoter mentality. They always focus on singles over tag teams because you have to pay 4 people basically for a tag team.
Right.
One match you're paying 4 people.
Right.
One guy gets hurt, the tag team is kind of useless, you know? So I understand the way that thinking works, but it's also tag team wrestling could be the hottest part of a wrestling show if it's done right. If you look at the NWA, the Jim Crockett promotions in the 80s, like, you know, when the Road Warriors were there and the Koloffs and all that, like in the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, like tag team wrestling was the top billing at most shows. Like it can be done. So I'm hoping it evolves a little better, and maybe it doesn't have to be top billing, but it should be. It should be 2. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we have 1 and 1A on the top, and then like the second thing should be like tag team wrestling should be a lot more important than it is, or then why have it if it's not?
I didn't watch the 2 matches in between the Royal Rumbles. I knew both of them were going to be like 2.5, 3 hours long.
Oh man. Well, let's get into the next match.
Was Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes. Please take us through it.
Okay. Kevin Owens in a ladder match is a scary situation. Kevin is extremely violent and is willing to take the risks and the bumps. And Cody is crazy. If you remember the ladder match he had with Sammy Guevara in AEW when they wrestled for the TNT title, like Cody's willing to go, and these guys just beat the ever living dog crap out of each other. They were, I mean, it was violent. It wasn't a super long match. And it feels like they did stop it early due to both of them, I feel, getting maybe not injured, but definitely hurt. They did a spot where they did what was it? I think it was a backdrop on the ladder. Cody got pretty rocked off of that. They did he went to do a power bomb. No, it was a power bomb on the ladder, laying in the mat. Cody got pretty rocked off that. And then they had the old off of the announcer's booth where Owens was going to do the power bomb, and Cody ends up backdropping Owens through the ladder, splitting the ladder, and Owens didn't get up from that. Like Cody went to get the titles. Yeah, Kevin didn't get up when they saw him on the ground. Like Sammy was trying to help him up. Like he was split open, he was bleeding. I don't know if that was part of the show, but it looked like he got rocked pretty good. It was a very, very violent match. Like you got the feeling in that this is one of those matches where you're watching and you're like, these guys don't like each other. And I don't think that's the situation, but it really came out like that. These guys are trying to kill each other. It was very violent, very brutal, and like it wasn't like one of those pretty violent matches. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's definitely worth a watch. It was definitely, and then Cody came out on top, and yeah, even when we saw when Owens showed up on Monday, he had a black eye, he was bloody, he was limping, like you can tell he had been through a war. And Cody isn't even showing up. They're saying he's injured, so that he won't be. Which I mean, he might. Once again, there's a difference between being injured and being hurt. He's probably hurt and taking some time off to recover. Maybe it's part of the storyline. Who knows? But maybe it's to help build intrigue for WrestleMania. But man, those guys went through a war. That was a war, and it wasn't super long. There wasn't these super Hardy Boy style antics with the ladders. It was just brutal, very brutal.
How would you rate it?
Out of 10, I'd probably give it a solid 8.5.
Okay. I like I said, I fast forwarded through it, but the parts I caught, it was just funny because they seem to just get redder and redder throughout.
Yeah. It's really like I said, it's really brutal. It's not even violent. It's not even about violence. It's just pure brutality. Like it looks like a fight. It doesn't look clean. It doesn't look smooth. Like it looks like a struggle. Like I really enjoyed that about it. So
Awesome. Well, and then we come upon what I have to say. Well, first we're here at the Royal Rumble, the actual main event of the Royal Rumble, the men's Royal Rumble. The first and only time I think in recent memory, I could think that I actually cried during a wrestling match. Because the number 1 and 2 people that get called out,
Rey Mysterio and Penta,
Rey, and watching them both sit there shaking hands, and Rey giving Penta the love he deserves and respect. I cried.
As soon as they said Rey was number 1, I stood up. I was on my feet, and I'm like yelling at my TV. I was like, Penta better be number 2. Penta better be number 2.
I got goosebumps now talking about it.
I would have been so mad if Penta wasn't number 2. And it was it was amazing. And those
And the
and Penta,
emotion on Penta's face, like Penta was crying too.
yeah,
He's sitting
Penta
up
had
there
an
with he couldn't hold it
amazing
back.
Penta had an amazing Royal Rumble. Even though there was that time when he went over, and a lot of people keep showing his feet, like his feet touched, but the whole thing is it's like any other, like we'll call it like a sport, like any sport. If the ref doesn't call it, it didn't happen.
Right.
He could have been walking around on the ground. If it's not called by the referee, it didn't happen. Just people need to always remember that. You can analyze it all you want. If the ref doesn't call it, it didn't happen. So,
Right.
but other than that little flub, which I mean, he's not fully used to how the ropes are. That's the difference is him pulling his body weight up. It just wasn't pulled up tight enough
Right.
so to where his feet were floating. But other than that, man, Penta had an amazing Royal Rumble.
Penta has been
So
killing it in
yeah,
WWE since coming in there.
they're doing
And
they're doing an amazing job with them.
and
They're
and,
doing
and it's talent because he's phenomenally talented.
yeah,
And
he's always
B,
been.
confidence behind him. You know, they have the confidence behind them. And
And the other thing is here's something they're allowing Penta to tell his own story. You know, they let him talk, which is something AEW screwed up on. They gave him somebody that was annoying as a mouthpiece, as opposed to just letting the man talk. He speaks decent enough English. I've had conversations with the man. I ended up buying a mask from him on Instagram during the pandemic. And God knows I don't speak Spanish. You know, I can understand a little bit, but like the man can communicate. So all you have to do is do that in short bursts, and the man knows how to tell a story in the ring. That's what Mexican wrestling is. That's what lucha libre is storytelling in the ring. And he is telling all these stories. When he first goes face to face with somebody that you know he hasn't had any encounters with, it's awe striking. And like, yeah, they're taking full advantage of him.
here's the thing: as great as Penta is, all the stuff that's happening with Penta, all these the great firsts and seeing the skills and how great he is. In my opinion, his brother is better.
Oh,
And his
Ray is a way better wrestler.
and Ray's Ray when Ray gets there, it's gonna be something completely different. Like if you
Right.
think Penta's amazing and Andrade and all the other luchas they got on there, wait till Ray shows up.
Well, that's the thing is
And yeah,
hopefully they do something similar with Ray, because they do have amazing lucha talent there that they have dropped the ball on, because Santos Escobar is just as good as Penta. He is just as good as Rey Mysterio. Santos is really, really good. If you look at his stuff in CMLL back when he was still under a mask, when he was the champion out there, like Santos is good. He just hasn't been used. And I think a lot of it is because Santos is smaller, you know.
right.
Ray, it's kind of a thing for Ray, and he's always overcome that. But Santos is kind of a small. Penta's kind of a big dude, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, for his stature, he's not very tall, but
No,
he's a
he's like
beefy guy.
5'10" or something like that. But
Yeah,
he's like
but
he's
he's
still
beefy.
yeah. And
Where
the
Santos is
costume helps with it too. The costume puffs him up a
right.
little bit so that he looks more, and the face paint makes him look a little scary and stuff too. So it helps out with everything. The intimidating role that he's taken on.
Yeah, where they've kind of dropped the ball with Santos, and I hope they do something, and they're going to start doing a lot more stuff in Mexico. So maybe we will see people like Santos Escobar and Andrade be used better. That's what I'm hoping, because Andrade is another one, and there might be outside reasons why Andrade is being held back again.
Right. With that bomb dropping this weekend, it was like, oh look, your ex-wife just
Yeah.
won the Royal Rumble. Bet you wish you stayed in AEW now.
Well, he was horribly misused there too. So I'm hoping, because I keep reading that they're going to do a pay-per-view in Mexico, and if they do, they need to start using this talent to it's I mean, like really just getting in there with some of these guys.
Absolutely agreed. But once again, we have now strayed from the Royal Rumble
Yeah.
topic. So let's bring us all back in. So Ray and Penta, we're still at 1 and 2. And they put on they made it, they showed you why they are who they are.
Right.
Um and I'm sorry, but I wanted Penta to win, and was disappointed by his lack of winning.
I
But
didn't.
moving
I
on,
mean, Penta's not in the place to win right now. He did make
I
an
know he
amazing.
wouldn't. I know
Yeah,
there were other names in there. I'm just saying, personally, I was pulling
personally,
for.
right. But he did make a showing, like I said, like Roxanne Perez did. She made that
Right,
showing like you're gonna keep. This is someone I need to keep my eye on, and I think that's what Penta did. Then we
right.
had, the thing is that there wasn't a lot of call ups or surprises in this Royal Rumble. Um,
No,
Matter of fact, I don't think did anybody from NXT show up. I don't believe anybody did.
no, no.
I don't. Yeah, I don't believe any NXT. There was one surprise, which was Joe Henry.
Joe Hendry.
Which was Joe Henry wasn't isn't even really a surprise. I think everybody pretty much knew Joe Henry was going to show up. Who also had a solid showing.
Yeah,
You know,
that one
um,
armed choke slam where he held the guy up for a while. That
right.
was impressive.
But we had the thing is this Royal Rumble was so stacked with top tier talent, with main event talent. It wasn't worth them to bring in people from NXT or Legends or anything like that, because you had to get CM Punk in there early. I mean, Braun Breaker for what he was in there made a showing. When he
Oh,
speared Roman
absolutely.
Reigns,
Yeah.
that was his "I am here" moment,
I'm
and Roman
surprised
sold that
Ice
so well.
Speed still had clothes on him after he got speared by Breaker.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
not trying to be an asshole, but he speared the black out of that motherfucker. Like, he hit that dude hard.
yeah.
Like,
I
I
watched.
felt like
I looked.
my fucking ribs hurt. Like back here. Like, oh,
So the one thing I'll give, like, I don't know who he is. All I know is he's a YouTuber, and he does like a really good backflip. That's all. That's the only thing I know about this kid.
and he's a
But
rapper.
he did bump correctly. He tucked his chin and everything, but
Oh, he took the hit.
he got hit so hard, his head still bounced off the mat.
He's still injured. He went to the hospital after
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. I mean, he took that spear as good as he could have, and still damn near got
To
split in
put
half.
it to put it in an old school way, in a time when Richard and I grew up, he took that shit like a man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. He
But
took it.
when Braun and Roman went at it, and you thought Roman was going to hit him with the spear, and Braun wrecked him.
Yeah.
And then you see, like, when Roman throws him over, he falls to the ground and he's like holding on his ribs, and like Braun's looking at him like, yeah, you got me this time. Like
Yeah.
that's my "I am here" moment for him for sure.
Right. That's Braun
So that
going, look, this is just one title.
yeah,
I'm going for the rest. Yeah.
yeah,
Him and Zilla.
yeah.
Uh, Zilla had a good showing in there. Um, is it
You mean
true that
Jacob?
Jacob? Um, is it true that the other Fatu brother got kicked out? He's out of the WWE.
No, not that I know.
Everywhere's saying that he's out. He's the one with the blonde hair, right? That was,
Yeah,
yeah. Everyone says he's
I
out.
haven't I haven't read anything about that. I knew he took some time off. I didn't know he was. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah. So anyway,
But
we got everything that I think we wanted to out of that match. Shinsei Nakamura. It was cool to see him, but I mean, what did he really do in the match? I
Shin,
saw.
Shin's someone that he's kind of an afterthought right now, and it sucks because he's a U.S. champion and he's doing some good character work. But there's so many, like I said, their talent for the men's roster is so main event stacked that they're getting kind of pushed down the other guys. And it's,
Yeah.
we got AJ returning, which another main event level, guy. Hell, we didn't even have Randy Orton in this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's so like the what do they call it? The when you have too many riches or whatever they call it. Anyway, the overabundance of talent that they have right now that are main event ready is insane. AJ made a good showing coming back. Glad to see him back. You know, Joe Hendry did a good job. Jacob Fatu looks like a monster. The feud with him and Braun Strowman is actually becoming interesting. They're actually doing something that makes Braun Strowman interesting. I want to see those guys go at it. You know, Too bad Bronson Reed's hurt right now. But
I would love to see a big meat fest. Just a big
right. I'm just telling you, yeah.
Between all the big guys.
And then, you know, Drew McIntyre and you know, CM Punk and John Cena, and like there's just so much talent there. And as people started getting eliminated and we got towards the end where we ended up with you know, Roman and Seth. Every time Roman and Seth, like it's so intriguing. Everybody goes back to the old Shield brothers, this and that, you know.
Right.
And there's obviously a natural story built in there. And the fact that they're fighting and about to eliminate each other, and then Punk came out of nowhere and eliminates them both. Perfect. That was amazing. And nothing. It's sad. I almost am going to regret saying this, but Logan Paul eliminating CM Punk was the perfect idea. Because he is so ostracized by the crowd. All that did was make him even more hated. Like, and the guy's a perfect heel. And he barely does anything. He sells tickets. Like, he's everything that The Miz was back in the day, everything that, you know, JBL was. He just produces hatred and heat. And you know what? I don't care, man. I'm not a fan of his, but the kid's got talent. So, and then that little what happened on the floor with Rollins and Reigns and
the
Punk,
double curb stomp.
Oh, the double curb stomp. Like, man, is it me or did Roman get worked in this Raw or in this Rumble?
Yeah.
Like,
they made a good point. The commentators made a good point when he was coming down. Roman hadn't been in the Royal Rumble in a while. Why?
4 years.
Because he had been the champion the entire time. So the champion doesn't have to fight. So now he had to come in and fight for his food. He had to get work.
Plus, I mean, you're talking about somebody that had been the champion for so long. I mean, he's got a target on his back. You're going to make a name for yourself. How you can do it, you know?
And so they told that story well, and that he came in and everybody was on him. You know,
and the Seth that I think they're doing this where Seth is slowly just losing his mind. You know, something that they're doing similar with Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens. They may form a faction. Honestly, that's how it seems, because these guys are slowly, and they're the, you know, the comic book villain where it's like, it's not me, it's them. I'm not the bad guy. Right. Why aren't you seeing this? Like they can justify what they're doing. And I really like what they're doing with Seth right now. And then him and Punk, like
group of the 4 silhouette people that they keep showing, that they keep rumoring Ricky Starks is a part of. You know, maybe they're part of that one. What'd you think of the finish?
So there's a lot of criticism going on. It's crazy. I watched, you know, I went on Facebook, on Instagram, all that, and everything's like biggest mistake in WWE's ever made, dumbest ending to a Royal Rumble. And you know, I would say I've probably seen 100 to 150 posts and stuff like that, right? We'll even call it, you know, with people that are supporting in the comments and stuff. We'll call it 500, right? Mm-hmm. Did you hear that arena? The roof blew off that thing when Jey Uso won. That man has earned that spot. It made him look amazing. he is the hottest thing beside him and Rhea Ripley are the two hottest wrestlers in the industry right now. They're untouchable. And the one thing about Jay is Jay brings in the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Kids love that man. So he's not only does he have massive support, but he's bringing in a new audience, which is everything as a business you want. I think they picked the right person. Honestly, I hope he goes up against Gunther at WrestleMania, and I hope he wins it. He deserves. He's everything. Like, this is on par with Kofi Mania.
Yeah, I agree.
So I
watch his barbecue videos, man. He cracks me up. I admit, he seems like a cool guy. I like watching his stuff.
His
I like
energy is infectious, and I
like
keep saying,
hearing about afterwards about his dad Rikishi, organizing that watch party and stuff. And
yeah,
not knowing he was gonna win and stuff. That all that was
crying
awesome.
when he came out with Michael Cole. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you saw, did you see the backstage when he comes out and then his brother's
Jacob
there?
and Roman are there, and his brother's there, and they give him all the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's earned it, and his energy is infectious. And I've seen a lot. Oh my God, we're gonna have to hear yeet this and yeet, dude. The kids love it.
Right.
They were shouting. I mean, you saw the entire people stayed after the pay-per-view was over to dance with this man. That's what you want as a business.
Yep.
So I think they chose the right guy. I am happy with it. I like it because even CM Punk was on I can't remember the name of the podcast. It's Dan Cormier and Chael Sonnen's podcast. And they were talking about Punk, like how he felt after the Royal Rumble and not main eventing WrestleMania. And he's like, Punk's like, 10 years ago, it would have been a big deal to me. He's like, honestly, he's like, now, he's like, if I were the booker, he's like, I'd have booked myself to lose. He said, if I were booking that, he's like, I love Jay. I'm glad Jay did it. But he's like, if I was booking that Royal Rumble, he's like, the last two people in the ring would have been me and Cena would have won. So like, Punk is looking at it a lot, where he doesn't need to win. He doesn't need another world championship. He doesn't need,
right.
But that makes with Jay winning that, and then now you have John Cena at the press conference after. Like, if you saw when John Cena came back, he said he wasn't going to demand anything. He's not going to take advantage of his spot. That's why he entered the Royal Rumble. He's like, it's not realistic for him to just be in the world title picture because he hasn't won a match in 2,000 or whatever days, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he was
but then Triple H came in afterwards and said, with everything John Cena has accomplished, if he wants a title shot, he gets a title shot. He doesn't have to go.
Well, that's what he said after this. When John was saying that, it was baiting people. It was building interest to the Royal Rumble. When he had his press conference, he's like, normally I do the question and answer. He's like, I'm not. He's like, I'm just going to basically make a statement. And his statement was, I have the lineage. I feel it's my place and where I can demand to be put in the Elimination Chamber. I feel that I've earned that. And basically Triple H is like, that's when Triple H was like, if John wants it, he's got it.
Right.
So that's how he declared himself for the elimination, which builds more intrigue for that, because that takes whoever gets that gets a shot at the title. Now you have, and then CM Punk won on Monday night, which puts him in the Elimination Chamber. And now it's like, is Roman and Seth going to end up? Like, it's building intrigue. Like, they're expanding their storytelling. Like, now we're getting back to almost like Attitude Era, where it's not just 2 or 3 storylines. There are multiple storylines going on. So there's a little something for everybody. And that's what I like in wrestling. Where it's not where,
It's kind of the opposite for me though. Like it's like the same people in the same picture.
but it's not.
It is. Punk, Cena, Reigns, like it's the same thing over and over and over again.
But that's
For me,
what's bringing okay. But that's what's bringing intrigue to the matches. That's not guaranteeing who's going to win. You know what I'm saying? The Royal Rumble, Jey Uso's the one that won it. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
Gunther's the world champion. So it's there's a lot of possibilities there of ways. And it's probably going to be one of these top tier guys that's more because it's Cody. So it's probably going to be something like that, but it brings intrigue and it builds up younger, like hopefully Braun Breaker's in this elimination chamber. I would love it. Or Penta. Can you imagine what Penta does in an elimination chamber?
right. Especially out the top.
I'm waiting. I want to see Penta. Like Penta, it looks like his feud right now is with Ludwig Kaiser, which Ludwig is good. Then Pete Dunne kind of got involved too, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Mm.
I
I
don't
just
know.
saw the vignette where Penta was going around picking fights with everybody. Hey, you little.
I mean, he's always done that. So,
Right.
but yeah, I think all in all, it was a great Royal Rumble. I love Charlotte winning. I love Jey Uso winning. I wasn't disappointed in the tag match itself. I'm just disappointed in the way the tag team division is presented. And just like I said, Cody and Kevin Owens is brutal. It's just brutal. So all in all, I really enjoyed the Royal Rumble. WWE's crushing everything that they're doing right now. So
Yeah. Again, I saw it. I liked it. I was glad to see a pay per view with such smaller amounts of matches.
yeah,
I know that's just me, but like 4 hour pay per view with like 20 different matches gets kind of long, monotonous after a while.
well,
Um,
WWE's been doing shorter pay per views as it is. Like they keep them around. I think it's 7 matches now. So
yeah.
they've
A lot
really
of
cut it.
people, AEW has done the same thing. They're trying to tighten up all the formats, stuff, and I'm enjoying it. But this one had 4 matches, and I was
Yeah,
cool with it.
I think because the rumbles are so long, I think it was perfect. Honestly, they could have cut the tag team match and it'd been right on.
Yeah. There was concern or problems with it because I when I went to go watch it, it wasn't on Netflix. I couldn't find it on Netflix, and
It's not.
or not
It's on
Netflix. Yeah,
Peacock.
Netflix. Yeah, it was on Peacock, and I had to find it, which was confusing because I had seen it advertised on Netflix, and I
No,
presumed it was on Netflix. So,
the PLEs they still have a year contract with Peacock.
but see, I'm not a big follower, and I know a lot of other people were the same way on TikTok. At least, I saw a lot of different viewers and fans going there and trying to figure out where it was.
I don't know if they get the replays on there or what goes on after that, but
Yeah.
I know
So,
what they get, what Netflix get is raw, and they're getting original content, and they do like some like super. The thing is like all the old library is still under contract with Peacock, so they can't even get a lot of that too.
yeah. And
So I
honestly, I'm not a fan of the way Max is handling AEW either. I'm not getting the alerts like I used to with other stuff. I'm not seeing it in my continue watching or anything like that. I think both systems are just getting used to each other
yeah, really, you're not
and
getting that.
having that and implementing it. So
I've been getting the alerts. I don't get it in my continue watching though. Like
yeah,
that's the one thing that
yeah,
like
I have
when
to
it goes
100
live and stuff
now.
like that, I'll get that. I'm like, when are they going to add more? Because they add they have the first year, and
Yeah,
that's it. Like when are you going to add more to it?
of AEW or Netflix because AEW
AEW,
has all 5 years.
no AEW on Max.
Yeah, I've seen. No, you're probably right.
I don't know. I haven't went through the old library. I just remember they only had year one when I watched all of it.
Well, either way,
That first day, I just sat there watching them.
I think it'll be a while before both platforms get settled and used to. I
Right.
think it's like they're still trying to get used to the adjustments with all the users coming and going. You
Yeah.
know, hopefully everything will smooth out, but we'll see in time. Time hopefully will fix everything
Yeah.
except for me and our bodies.
Yeah. Time makes that
Um,
worse.
right. Unless they come out with nanobots to fix it. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us on this episode of the PanelCast. I want to remind everybody on February 8th, please join us as we live stream The Madness of Cupid. That's right. We're having another live draw episode where we all sit around and talk about our wonderful love stories and all the horrible, horrible things that happen to us on Valentine's Day, or funny horror stories
You know
in
what's
our world, expression.
you know
Expression.
what's weird? I have never celebrated Valentine's Day.
See, that could be a funny horror story there. Do you know they're making a Burbs TV show?
No, they really just can't come up with original ideas anymore, can they?
Right.
Wow.
Now, where I think the Burbs TV show would have been applicable during COVID,
Yeah.
because we were all like rear windowing it at that point. What was the call where we suburbia or whatever, where we all look out the window and think there's a murder happening across the street? Uh,
Yeah.
Whatever that is, like that would have worked great during the COVID times, especially with the Burbs. But um, I
Yeah.
wonder how
That's
they're going
the.
to do it now. Like, is that guy
I'll tell you
Republican?
this much. You know what I've been really, really happy with is the Pit or
Man,
Pit,
here,
whatever.
um, I guess we're going a little longer on this episode, so don't mind us. We're going to review a couple TV shows. Richard and I are funny. I'll text Richard, "Have you seen this?" And the next thing I know, 3 hours later, he's like, "All right, I'm 4 episodes into it now. Let's go." Yeah, that's just how me and Richard work. So, um, I will tell you something. I watched The Pit last night, and I am pissed that it is only 5 episodes in the first season. What kind of crap is that? That means what we have um at least 7 more seasons to go before like before we finish the day.
Yeah.
That is so disappointing,
But it's written
Or
so like that's the crazy thing. I enjoyed it so much. It made me start watching ER, which I had never seen.
I
I'd never
can't
seen a single episode. And mind you, I'm freaking 4 seasons in now.
I can't when I'm watching The Pit. um I really wish they would kind of memento it, where they take, or even where you can take away the end and beginning credits and just let it flow
Yeah.
as one. Because I'll be honest with you, I forget that there's a beginning and ending to the show when I'm watching it until it ends and I see the credits. I'm like, oh shit, it's over.
Yeah,
But it's so fast to
it's all
switch to
one
the
long
next
episode.
episode. It's so fast to switch to the next episode that you don't really feel like you're missing out on anything. It just goes into the next one, and they make it flow so seamlessly that
Yeah.
it's
And
nice.
I'm not big on watching shows week to week, but I have watched it. As soon as you got me watching The Pit, I think you watched the first 2 episodes when it came out, right? You told me about
Right,
it.
right.
I ever since like I've watched I'm always like, yeah, I'll wait till the season's done, then I'll watch it. Nah, I've been watching it week to week.
I stopped. I couldn't do it. I waited till the season was over, and then when I found out that the season was only 5 episodes, I was so upset. I want the whole season now, please. Give me all. I will sit here all day and watch that show. I don't care. It is a good show. Noah Wiley heads up a ER uh, room, in a hospital, and he's in charge of every aspect of it. And it's also a teaching hospital, so you're meeting all these new students and all these new ambiances,
Just like ER.
just like ER, and they're all coming in. except it's done in a 24 style
Right.
format. So you live every minute per minute, and so each episode is 1 hour out of the day, and it's all one long day. I think we're up to noon now, and it started off at like 7 a.m.
I'm just saying somebody else had an idea of wanting to do a show that was filmed that way.
Noah. It was Noah. He produced the show and everything. He said, this is what I want to do." And it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's messed up. Oh, they have
It
two. Not to spoil anything, but they have two that they had to say goodbye to. Two,
yeah.
like, no. It deals with some harsh, real stuff out of
Yeah, it's
nowhere,
definitely
and it made me
but
look at my. It made me look at my Xanax. That's for sure. I was double
yeah,
checking my Xanax.
it's probably one of the best new shows that I've seen in a long time.
Right.
I can't think of anything else that's like that has made me want to watch week to week. There's shows that I've been interested in, you know, but nothing where I was like, okay, I gotta watch it. It's on today. I gotta watch it.
He got an alarm set up. Now, as we're talking, season 3 of Invincible has now come out today.
Oh,
Now,
really?
I am a fan of this series, and I'm going to go after recording this, and I'm going to go watch the entire season 3 right now. I do believe it. No, it's not bingeable. Damn it! It's weekly.
Who put it out?
It's on Amazon. Amazon
Oh,
Prime.
yeah, then it's weekly.
Yeah. Also, that came out today, that was released today, is Wolfman, that we just saw. Aren't you glad that I spent all that money for us to go see the movie for it to come out 2 weeks later?
Well, there's a reason it came out 2 weeks later.
Right.
Once again, I don't hate the movie. It's a really cool take. It had really good parts, you know. It's just no chemistry in the cast. Ruins it for me.
And you were right, Richard. He was Irish. He was
Okay.
white. My bad. It's my bad. I read the book like 10 times, and then I watched the movie 50. So
And you read the book how many years ago? You know, like
right, it's just, and even then they don't really get into too much of a description for Red, like, so fuck you.
it's a great movie though.
February 8th, the live draw. Everyone, please tune in. Then we have another one coming up March 15th. That one will be really interesting as we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. A little early, FP style. You know what I'm saying? We have got a lot of great stuff coming up. I know, Richard, you've got some stuff coming up. You were busy. Where are you nowadays?
I am well. Mostly besides appearing here, I do a lot of work with SKN, the Shadow Nose Network on YouTube. I do Toy Box Chronicles with them. Huh?
Short for skin.
Yeah.
Can't get you out of the naked business, can we?
Remember that website? Anyway,
yeah.
Was it Mr. Skin or Dr. Skin?
Dr. Skin.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's still up.
It definitely shows our age.
Yeah, it's still up, guys, by the way. It shows you, it's a great website. It shows you all the nude scenes in
Is
the
it
movie.
still up?
It's still up, and it still gives you like the exact minute that these stars show up butt naked in all these movies and stuff. If you saw This is 40 or no, Still a Virgin, 40-year-old virgin.
40-year-old virgin? Yeah.
40-year-old virgin. They touch base on. No. Is it 40-year-old virgin?
I don't know.
Yes, it is 40-year-old virgin. No, this is. Which one is it? This is 40. I don't know. It's the one where
No.
Where Seth Rogen knocks up what's her name?
It's the one before. It's not This Is 40. It's the one before that. So This Is 40 is a sequel to the one where he dates the girl. That's the one
Knocked Up.
where I just remember there's one scene where he goes like everybody in the house that they live in has pink eye.
Yeah, Knocked Up.
And yeah, Knocked Up. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's the one where they talk about it.
I just remember the scene where the girlfriend's like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you." He shows her boobs. Yeah.
But anyway, yes.
Anyway.
I've been doing a lot with SKN. We have I appear pretty regularly on the Toy Box Chronicles, which comes Wednesdays, live stream Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Every now and then I'm on Pixels Plastic and Ink on Fridays, also at 7 p.m. And then I have a new podcast coming out with them that is strictly G.I. Joe based. We haven't set the day yet that it's going to be premiering, but we have some guests lined up and a bunch of stuff as well as we got some other stuff in the works. I don't know how much we can announce yet, but when we can, we'll definitely be talking about it here. There's also some desire to work with a certain comic book company and get them involved in some of the stuff that we're doing.
Sweet.
So,
let me know. I'll call them and let them know.
Yeah, I had some conversations about that earlier today. So
sweet. We have also got some new shows, new episodes, and new things coming along in Forbidden Panel as well. So we invite you guys to please check us out. Keep an eye on us. Forbidden Panel, we're everywhere. Instagram, every social media. I even got on Mastodon yesterday. I don't even know what Mastodon is. I'm probably going to get shot for it.
I've never heard of it.
Apparently our website can connect to it when we post, so I attached it
Nice.
to Mastodon, Blue Sky, wherever social media is, we're there, except for Truth Social because I believe in the lies.
What's
Same
Truth
with
Social?
Trump's website, Trump's social media site.
Trump has a social media site?
Yes.
Isn't he busy?
You would think.
Wow. All right. Learn something new every day, I guess.
We do have new unboxing videos coming out. We have all kinds of fun stuff. I promise you. Just keep checking us out. Forbidden Panel. Check out Richard over at Quick Smile Collectibles. We've got all wonderful things coming for you. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Yeah, we're getting close to the road to 300. We've got something very special planned for you for 300. So
talking about our age or
combined. Thanks everybody. We'll see you on the next episode.